A lot of people think that bread's difficult to make, but today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way how to make it. So the ingredients we're going to be using today are strong white bread flour, salt, sugar, milk powder, fresh yeast, butter and water. So the first step today is to dissolve our yeast in with our water. So it's just a case of placing the yeast into the bowl, tipping on the water, and just gently dissolving the yeast into the water. So the next step is to add the rest of the ingredients to the flour. We're using strong white bread flour today because of its high gluten content. And the reason we need the gluten in it is to help when the bread is rising with the structure and also to hold its shape when it's baking. So we're going to add salt to the flour. Salt is needed in bread to help develop the gluten when we're kneading it. It also adds flavour to the bread, and it also helps with the colour in the final product of baking. So the next ingredient is milk powder. Milk powder is used just as an enriching agent to the bread, and basically just adds flavour to it. The next ingredient is sugar. We add a little bit of sugar to the bread. It also helps with the colour, and it also helps to feed the yeast in the fermentation process. So our last ingredient in the bread is butter, and that's just needed just to add flavour to the bread. So the next step is just to gently rub the butter into the flour, just so it's evenly just distributed. So my next step is just to tip the flour onto the table. I'm going to make a well. And then I'm going to add the water and the yeast to the flour and the rest of the ingredients. And then with my hand, I'm just going to gradually just pull in bits of the flour. So now the dough is coming together, and I'm bringing in all the dry ingredients. Into the dough. So with the heel of my hand, I'm going to be stretching and pulling the bread dough to develop the gluten in the flour and the dough. And the reason we're doing this is so when the bread is rising in the oven, it holds its texture and its form. So we've been kneading the bread now for at least 5 minutes. And as you can see, the bread dough is taking on a smooth, silky texture. So it's nice and smooth, it's not wet, it's just the right consistency. So I'm just going to mould the bread now into a ball, and then I'm going to place it in a bowl, cover it, and allow the bread now to prove for at least 1 hour. So our dough has now been proving for an hour. As you can see, it's doubled in size, and now it's ready for dividing up into smaller portions for our bread rolls.